Candace Owens didn't just ignite a debate, she cracked open a story that had been sealed tight for years. And when she questioned Meghan's pregnancy timeline, most people shrugged it off at first. But then an insider from Portland Hospital quietly stepped forward. Someone who actually worked within the same walls. Meghan claims she delivered Archie in, and the details they described didn't just raise eyebrows, they ripped the polished narrative wide open. What they revealed pushed people to re-examine every claim, every detail, and every carefully crafted moment Harry and Meghan shared with the world. And once you follow the threads, one by one, everything begins to unravel in a way that leaves you wondering how so many contradictions were ignored for so long. It all starts with a single line buried in Harry's memoir, Spare. A line so small, most readers skimmed right past it. But for people who understood medicine, hospital procedure, and royal protocol, that one sentence detonated the entire story. Harry claimed Meghan had 2 epidurals, delivered at Portland Hospital, and was back home at Frogmore Cottage within 2 hours. 2 hours. To the average person, that sounds quick. To anyone who has given birth or understands how medical discharge works, it sounds physically impossible. And to medical professionals familiar with Portland Hospital, the timeline doesn't just sound odd, it sounds like something pulled from a fictional script rather than real life. Because Portland to Frogmore is roughly an hour drive, with perfect traffic, which means everything else, the birth, the checks, the paperwork, the security escorts, Meghan recovering from 2 spinal procedures would have needed to fit inside a single hour. Hospitals don't move that fast. Specialists especially don't. And private maternity facilities are even more cautious, not less. It gets stranger when you break down the epidural detail. An epidural uses a catheter placed into the spine. Changing it is rare and almost never done unless absolutely required. For Meghan to have received 2 doctors would have had to remove the original catheter entirely, restart the entire procedure from scratch, reinsert the new one, test it, and monitor her closely for complications. Yet Harry describes it as if they were casual options on a menu. On top of that, the idea that someone who received 2 epidurals would be released within an hour of giving birth simply doesn't align with medical reality. And once this discrepancy caught people's attention, more inconsistencies immediately surfaced. Harry described their birthing room as dim, calm, candlelit, almost like a wellness retreat. But Portland Hospital isn't built like that. It's a specialist maternity facility with bright medical lighting, monitored equipment, and strict policies. There are no dimly lit spa rooms. There are no open candles. There is no scenario where a partner can inhale nitrous oxide by accident because the tanks are controlled by staff at all times. The hospital insider confirmed all of this directly. No candles, no unattended laughing gas, no secret elevators, no backdoor shortcuts out of the building, no 2-hour discharges, and absolutely no situation where a patient with 2 epidurals is in and out like a guest checking out of a hotel. The insider said, Harry's description simply does not exist in the reality of Portland's structure, policies, or medical practice. But the contradictions don't end with medicine. Royal protocol carries its own weight, and every royal birth follows rules that are considered unbreakable. One of the oldest and most important is that the Queen is notified immediately when a royal woman goes into labor. Not after the birth, not once they get home, immediately at the start. This protocol has been followed for every royal baby for generations. Yet sources familiar with the events stated that no such notification happened when Meghan supposedly went into labor. That alone suggests something was handled off the books. And in royal circles, nothing is handled off the books, especially not a birth involving a baby in the line of succession. Meanwhile, Meghan's explanations for why the press wasn't informed of the birth also shifted multiple times. First, she said she didn't want to block an emergency entrance, a strange claim considering Portland doesn't have a public ER entrance. Then she said the press didn't deserve a photo because of racism. Then she later claimed they did notify the press and the press didn't show up. 3 explanations for one moment, 3 contradictions. And none of them match how royal births are handled. The press is always informed through official channels, not through guesses, not through chance, not through waiting, hoping someone wanders by. Investigators often note that when a story changes repeatedly, it usually means the real explanation hasn't been shared yet. And that pattern appears again when discussing Meghan's alleged high-risk pregnancy. She was in her late 32nd when Archie was born, which is medically considered higher risk, especially with suspected complications like preeclampsia. High-risk births involve bright lights, medical teams on standby, intense monitoring, and long observation periods afterward. Yet Harry described candles, soft lighting, cozy environments, and a dreamy aesthetic. That isn't standard for low-risk births, let alone high-risk ones. And if she truly had preeclampsia, the timeline becomes even more impossible. Preeclampsia is severe. Patients often receive magnesium sulfate, a medication so strong it burns as it moves through veins. It requires constant monitoring because seizures and organ failure can strike without warning. No patient with preeclampsia leaves a hospital in 2 hours, not even in 12 hours, usually not even in 24. Yet Meghan was photographed just weeks later, flying internationally, attending events, walking red carpets, and traveling repeatedly without showing symptoms of someone recovering from a major medical complication. Once again, the story simply does not match the expected medical reality, and the smaller details only deepen the doubts. Harry mentioned sneaking out at 2 a.m. for Nando's chicken, but Nando closes around 11 p.m. and Portland offers 24-hour private dining for its patients. There would have been no need for him to leave the building at all. Then there's the supposed secret elevator. Hospital insiders said plainly, it does not exist. Patients, including royal ones, are wheeled through standard corridors like everyone else. Then confusion arose about who actually delivered Archie. Reports named Dr. Penelope Law, but later sources contradicted that, and certain outlets had to correct their articles. Confusion about the doctor involved in a royal birth is not a small administrative slip. It signals missing information. Then comes the final convergence of every inconsistency: medical impossibility, timeline contradiction, protocol gap, shifting explanation, and insider account. Each piece alone might seem odd. Together, they form a pattern that becomes impossible to ignore. The glowing candles, the laughing gas story, the 2 epidurals, the missing royal notifications, the quick discharge, the high-risk pregnancy described like a low-risk home birth, the rapid international travel afterward, the secret elevator that doesn't exist, the closed restaurant Harry supposedly visited, the unverified doctor, the insider testimony contradicting the entire setting. All of these details point to one conclusion: the official version of Archie's birth does not line up with medical standards, hospital policy, royal protocol, or basic logistical reality. Fairy tales only work when people don't look behind the curtain. But once the curtain starts to move, the entire story begins to shift. And as more insiders speak, more contradictions emerge, and more questions stack on top of each other, one question now echoes louder than all the rest. If this part of Meghan's story wasn't real, what else was never meant to be discovered? Because at some point, the truth stops hiding in shadows. It steps into the light, whether someone wants it there or not.